So the bait fish pattern that we're going to tie today is basically a style that I think was originated by Enrico Puglisi, and so there's a lot of different patterns out there, and it's basically it's a method to imitate a bait fish. And so I'll be working on a little bait fish. This is just kind of like a little perch imitation. And so this is more of a style of tying bait fish and different types of similar imitations. So what I'll do is I'm going to start out with some wire. On this pattern here, I need to get the fly down because I'm not going to fish it with the sinking line. And the fibers, because they repel water, they typically will be they're going to float a little bit. So anyway, they do hold their shape underwater, so it's a really good pattern to use. Anyway, so I'm going to use some 0.035 round lead-free wire, and I'm just going to use a little stretch of about twice the hook shank length, and I want to keep it a little bit back from the eye of the hook because I need to build a nice head. But I'm just going to go ahead and wrap this on here, and that's about where I want it. And so once I've got the lead in the spot where I want it, I need to secure that in place. And what I'll be using for the thread is actually some monofilament thread, or monofilament. And it's good because it's strong and it's also clear, so that you can work with your materials pretty good without getting color. I also use a lot of gel spun thread in this same type of pattern. Okay, so I'm going to work my mono back up to just inside of where my lead starts, and the material I'm going to use is called Congo hair, and it's from the Fly Tyers Dungeon. This is a color that's kind of a golden yellow. The first thing I do is I need to break or pick out a portion of this, and you don't need it to be a lot because we're going to add a lot of material as we go. So what I want to do is I want to grab the right thickness that I want. I want to judge the tie-in point to back to where I want this to the length of the fly, and that's about a good length. And then I double that because I'm going to double the material over on top of itself. So I'm going to double the length there and chop that off. And now there's a couple different ways to tie this material in. Some people will do the trick where they double it on the thread or the monofilament itself. I'm actually going to just tie this in and double it back over itself. I think that gives me a better segmentation effect that I like. So I basically just tie that in on top of where I have that lead, a couple of turns, and now here's the trick. I'm going to take the second half of that and fold it right back over itself, and as I do that, I'm going to press down on the bend part and kind of get that to fold around the lead, because I want to cover this lead up a fair amount. And then you sometimes may need to kind of work that down around. And then as it goes down around, I'm just going to tie that in like so. And the first part is tied in.
My gear falls to the ground and knocks me off my feet. The city life is dragging me down. My body still remains here, but my heart has gone away. High upon the hilltop, I've got to get away. I'm going up to the top of the mountain. Baby, I'm leaving this town. sweet honey fountain. If you come with me, I ain't coming down again. If you come with me, I ain't coming down again. I'm gazing into starry skies, wishing they were your eyes. You up here is unbelievable, but if this is the end, I can't pretend I'm satisfied. So high and lonesome, I wish that I had died. I'm going up to the top of a mountain, baby, I'm leaving this town. I know I will find me a sweet honey fountain. If you come with me, I ain't coming down again. If you come with me, I ain't coming down again.
So at this point, I'm finished with the tying, but I need to give it a good haircut because it's a mess. And I'm going to start trimming this up, and I want, again, I'm looking for that more minnow shaped there. So you can see I'm going to actually get that trimmed down quite a bit, but that's the shape I'm going for. Okay, once I've got my fly trimmed to kind of a general shape that I want, I'm now going to take my thinning shears. And that's what these are. These are those little things, if you get a haircut, they basically chop off every third hair or whatever it is. And this is what I'll use to start trimming this in more of a three-dimensional type taper. And so I'll sometimes just hold this straight up like this and work my way up, and see that tapers it going all different directions. And if I notice that the fly is too thick in through a certain area, I'll just come down in here and start to thin. That's why I will tie these fibers in a little thicker than a lot of people, because I'm just going to turn around and thin them out. It gives you a lot more flexibility.
My gear falls to the ground, it knocks me off my feet. The city life is dragging me down. My body still remains here, but my heart has gone away. High upon the hilltop, I've got to get away. I'm going up to the top of the mountain, baby, I'm leaving this town. I know I will find me a sweet honey fountain. If you come with me, I ain't coming down again. If you come with me, I ain't coming down.